So we're here with Weekly World News Editor-in-Chief, Greg D'Alessandro. Greg, thanks for being on the show, man.
Oh, thank you, Dee. It's a pleasure to be on the show you got.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Weekly World News, the world's only reliable news source, in my opinion.
Right.
One of your content providers emailed me. It was like, hey, you guys, we're doing a Kickstarter for the Weekly World News. And I was thinking, wow, a Kickstarter. And I guess I never really thought about it. I guess I haven't seen the print publication. But so are you doing the Kickstarter to bring back the print publication?
Yeah, we it kind of went dormant, went online in 2007, it went out of print in 2007, and then it went online, and then it kind of went dormant in 2015. So about a year ago, we started bringing it back and everything together, and now we want to get back into print. So, because there seems to be everyone would like to see it like that. It's not.
Well, I mean, it's nostalgic, but also, I mean, it was kind of a staple of a lot of people's childhoods. See, when you're standing in the supermarket checkout line with your mom and you see Batboy, on the front cover, you page through it. I mean, we all did that.
Yeah, we get so many stories of people. They come home, they used to bring it home and share it with their family, sit around, and their grandparents or their father or their brothers, and just open it up and laugh, have fun. We had this guy who's used to read it every Friday on Wall Street to the whole microphone to the whole floor. And there's all these. We keep uncovering all these. There's so many fans out there, and we feel like it might be a right time. We've been online. We're doing some stuff in Hollywood. We actually have a podcast working on it. It'll be up in January.
Oh, wow. Well, definitely let me know when that comes out. We'll plug it here on the show.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, I'll have you on. It'll be.
We'll have you back on. So tell me, how long was the Weekly World News in publication? Like, when did it start?
Yeah, it started in November 1979. So it was part of American Media Inc. with National Enquirer.
Oh, yeah.
So National Enquirer was printed in black and white, and then they went to color. So then they had these black and white presses. So, a couple of guys came up with this idea. We'll just take some bizarre stories and we'll put it out and see how it goes. And it kind of, took off from there. And then people kind of dialed up the stories a little bit, a lot of true stories mixed in with some, some other
fantastic stories.
Yeah, fantastical stuff. But, still, everything we write is always true. It's all.
So it was a sister publication to the Enquirer, kind of like a redheaded stepsister, I suppose.
Exactly.
But the Enquirer was huge. I mean, there's a lot of celebrity gossip at that point. How big, I guess, at its height, what was the circulation of the Weekly World News?
We had 1.2 to 1.4 million a week.
Oh, that's crazy. And that's the thing, like the supermarket sales space was crazy competitive back then. I mean, you had like the Sun, the Star, National Enquirer.
Yeah, and I was talking to someone recently at the National Enquirer, and they're having a great year this year, actually.
And they're still in print, right?
Yeah, they're in print, and since like the airports are kind of closed down, and the bus stations, and not as much traffic, so the glossy magazines aren't doing as well, but the ones in the supermarkets and the pharmacies and stuff are doing well. So we thought we'd come back and print, maybe try, maybe monthly or bi-weekly, and just
see if it takes off. So, I mean, if you think about it, the timing is probably right because, I mean, it could almost be said that the Weekly World News invented fake news.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it. However, I guess we were just touching upon that, but it gets to my question here. There was some truth behind these stories published in the Weekly World News, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We would find pictures or stories that people would uncover, and that's how it started. It started by finding these bizarre stories. So most of the ones in the first few years were 100% true, and then we started, adding a little creativity to it a little bit, and it took off there. But again, everything we write is 100% true. World's only reliable news. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like Hogzilla was an actual story. I think it was like a big, massive hog that someone shot in Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah.
And you guys also, that's one thing. I mean, our show is evidence of this, but a lot of crime stories are bizarre enough on their own that you
Right.
don't really even need to make them up, you know?
I know, and the thing is, no matter what we write, and we write also a lot about aliens, which is, now it's, they're releasing all this information about aliens and UFOs, but still, no matter what, there's a good solid 20% of people that believe everything.
that just take everything as true.
Yeah, everything there. We're like Manigator. We have, this half alligator, half man, and there wasn't just one Manigator. There's like 200 Manigators, because there's a whole batch of eggs found in Louisiana. But some people, they've seen like a Manigator, and maybe they have,
Well, were you guys ever concerned about, like, I don't know, defamation suits, or do you know of any lawsuits that happened against the Weekly World News?
There has never been a lawsuit that I know of against Weekly World News. So there's a couple of people have complained when we've written about them, said stuff, but no lawsuits. I think.
I mean, it's satire.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're listed as satire. So we have a little leeway there. I think the only person, I'm trying to remember what the article was about, but the only person that actually moved forward a little bit was Carrot Top.
Oh, Carrot Top? What was the story?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to remember what the story was.
Alien, maybe?
Yeah, it had to do with a cryptid. And I know you got a lot of cryptid stuff too. So it was about Carrot Top interacting with a cryptid. It might have been actually.
I would think Carrot Top is a cryptid, if you ask me.
Yes, he could be. He does qualify, I think.
So what's the story, the backstory on Batboy? Like, who came up with that? Because that's one of the more memorable characters.
Okay, yeah. So there's a guy named Dick Kulpa, Kulpa, and he came up with it, and with it was an photographer, artist, and it was based on a rumor from in West Virginia of this bat child found in a cave, but they kind of took it out a little bit. But it's basically there was the government was doing this genetic testing. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
which
so
happens.
Exactly. So mixing, which the government always does. They're doing all these strange things that we don't know about. So they're mixing human DNA with a bat DNA, and they had many of these bat human,
these hybrid things.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So they were keeping it a secret down in these caverns in West Virginia near the Shenandoah Valley.
There's a lot of inbreeding out there too.
A lot of and bat inbreeding too. So, and then we this family, father and son, uncovered, came across. They were going down into these caves and they found the Batboy, and they brought him up. And then there's this whole. Immediately, the government came in and took Batboy away
for testing.
Right.
Yeah.
They wanted to test him, and they wanted to keep him away from the public knowing about it. And then Batboy escaped, and then we've had 500 stories of what Batboy's done since then. And as a matter of fact, right now he's running for president. So
okay, that's good. Third party. That's good to know.
Third party, Bigfoot is vice president.
Yeah, as a kid, my favorite stories was I loved Bigfoot Hooker.
Right.
That was amazing. Manigator was cool, but the Elvis is still alive stories were always the ones that captivated me.
Yes.
Like, I mean, that was a big deal.
Yeah, he was spotted in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
At a McDonald's, right?
Exactly. Yeah, he was, and a matter of fact, some people say that he still is alive. I think he's like 80-something, 88 or something like that. But,
did you ever see the movie Bubba Hotep?
Yes.
Yeah, remember he was like Bruce Campbell played Elvis in a nursing home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got our cover once with Elvis was in a wheelchair outside of Graceland.
Yeah. I mean, one of the other ones where I was doing a little bit of research, which I never saw this story, but it's hilarious. Yeah. Gay skeletons found in a Titanic life ring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of Titanic stories and babies that have been found alive from the Titanic and stuff like that were preserved down there. But yeah, the gay skeletons. There are also skeletons found in the Garden of Eden.
Oh, wow.
Gay skeletons, yeah.
Yeah,
that was a big story. And we also found the Garden of Eden.
Oh, yeah, some hard-hitting news there.
Yeah, that was in Wyoming. So, no,
So one of the other stories that is kind of, I thought it was kind of strange for the Weekly World News to kind of enter into this territory, but you guys published 3 photos of serial killer Ted Bundy's corpse after he was executed
right.
in 1989. And that was
Yes.
like a big seller too. Was that one of the more controversial stories?
Yeah, that was very controversial, because I don't know if anyone had done that kind of thing before, but just publishing his corpse, yes, is a crazy thing. There was a lot of mail on that, but because of the genre of Weekly World News, you get away with a lot more things.
Yeah, you guys definitely had some more leeway with that.
Yeah, you get a little more leeway in a lot of things.
Do you guys know? Do you know whether or not? I mean, I know you said there are no lawsuits, but did the Weekly World News ever have to pull this story, or are they just like, nah, that's too crazy, we can't publish that?
No, we haven't had to. We haven't had to pull anything. We've discussed whether to put something out or not. But there was one when we were online in 2012. We had a big story, which was that Facebook was shutting down, and we put that out there. And I think we had like 1.8 million views in one day because it was earlier on, and so we said Facebook was shutting down, and then 2 weeks later, Facebook had to put out a press release and said that no, that's not true. We're not shutting down because we kept getting more and more and more people looking at the article, and we started a petition to save Facebook. We had 1.8 million people sign the petition, and then so then when they wrote their press release, then we had to write another story saying, well, of course they're not shutting down. Of course they're saying that because it's true. So we just moved it out a little bit. So we've had a lot, and we also had this one 2010 where we talked about Los Angeles Police Department buying 10,000 jetpacks from this Australian company to form a Los Angeles jetpack police force.
Wow, jetpack cops.
Yeah, exactly. And they actually, so that we published that at like 3 a.m, 2010 or 11, something like that. And at 7 a.m, it was on Fox and Friends. word for word, they put in bullet points of what I wrote, put down. And then, by 10 a.m, CNN and MSNBC is making fun of Fox. And then they had another special on it. And then that night on David Letterman's top 10 list, and made it the top 10 list.
Well, Fox News is known for their fact checking, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, they spent a lot of time fact checking because we said it was $10,000 for each jetpack. So it was $1 billion spent on jetpacks just for this. And there hadn't been one jetpack made by this company.
So,
yeah.
With the return of the Weekly World News,
yes.
Are you concerned that, in this day and age of fake news, just, the fact and the difference between fact and fiction is so blurred now? Do you think you might cause another Orson Welles panic myth, with the American public? Like, how do you think people will react to stories about like Bigfoot slaves?
I think that could happen. I mean, because we're, especially with the alien invasion going on right now, but like some people say we were fake news, and then there was like real news, and then the real news became fake news, and now we're back to Weekly World News being the true source of news. So it's I'm not really. I think there's a lot that we could do, and there's a lot of stories that we can present to the public that would raise some eyebrows, and that's what we intend to do.
I think personally.
Yeah, go ahead.
Personally, I think the fact that people are so easily triggered now is going to be a good thing for you guys.
Yeah, I think so. So we try and be on the lighter side of things. We try and cover the stories that no one else is talking about. So that's it's going to be something different, a break from all the other news, all that other fake news.
Yeah, the other actual fake news.
The real fake news. You need a break from that, so you got to come back to Weekly World News, find out what latest is going on with Bigfoot Hooker, with PH8, with P-Law the alien. We have this alien who's, advised every president since Ronald Reagan. So we have a lot going on.
That's believable, if you ask me. I mean, we interviewed a guy last week who said that all the politicians are humanoid aliens. So. Yeah. So, I mean, that's within the realm of comprehension.
Yeah.
So, Greg, how long have you been editor-in-chief of the Weekly World News?
So I've been for like a year. I've written for them for, I don't know, maybe 12 or 14 years. I've written about 5,000 articles and posts for Weekly World News. So I kind of got, bumped up to editor-in-chief and trying to steer the ship here.
Nice. How close are you guys to the goal? Your Kickstarter goal?
We're at 60% now. We have
nice.
12 days left. Yeah.
12 days left. All right. And so the plan is once you hit that Kickstarter goal,
right.
You're going to do a podcast. I read a TV series.
Well, the podcast is already underway. The Kickstarter is now we have some really great writers. We want to, get them fully on board with our good graphic person we have and go into print, begin our foray into print, back into print. So that's what we're trying to do.
Which is great because that's, somewhat atypical these days when everyone's trying to have like an online presence. I kind of miss the tangible print publications.
Yeah, I mean, we've thought about it. I mean, like we said, everybody wants to be online. Everybody just wants to do social media. But we keep getting requests. And it's not only just from older readers, people like, maybe 50 or 60. It's on like 25 to 44 people that want to see it in print. I don't know, there's something about, I used to go to these pitch meetings in LA all the time, and I would bring the papers with me, and they would want them. They would take them. They wouldn't give them back to me, Everybody wants the paper. So I don't know. We figure that we'll go back, try and give the people what they want, and keep doing online and do our podcast.
Why not just, best of all worlds? Well, exactly. I'm 100% supportive of this. And people, you can go pledge some money to the Kickstarter at Kickstarter.com. Just do a search for Bring Back the Weekly World News.
Exactly. That's all you have to do.
I think when's it end? The 23rd?
23rd.
So you have up until the 23rd to pledge some money. Let's bring back the Weekly World News because, I mean, to be honest, while you're waiting in that long spaced out COVID line to check out the grocery store, would you rather be entertained of stories of Bigfoot Hooker?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we want to hear Bigfoot Hooker's book.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what we want to read about. Greg, best of luck to you. I hope I really do want to see Weekly World News coming back to print. So thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, thank you, Dee, so much. Thank you guys very much.
It was good talking to you. All right, take care.
Good talking to you. Yeah, bye.